Hello, I'm the Oliver Pickard and welcome to beautiful Limousin, France. Well, I say beautiful, it's actually grey and raining, but that cannot dampen my spirits. The weather cannot be too bad today because today's a very special day and a very special video. As children, many of us played with Tonka toys. You know, big, chunky, construction type toys that had big chunky tyres and big chunky steering wheels, and we all dreamed of one day owning a real Tonka toy. Well, my friend Patrick decided to take that a step further, and he bought himself a real Tonka toy. This is Patrick's Unimog 404.
Donc, bonjour, je m'appelle Patrick, voici mon Unimog. Donc c'est un Unimog diesel, 4 cylindres, de 1963, qui à l'origine était chasse-neige.
So it was a snowplow originally. So Patrick used to work in the Jura mountains, and every single day he used to drive to work and drive past this lovely Unimog that was for sale, and it used to be the community snowplow. And one day it got the better of him and he decided to stop and buy it. Et conduit de Jura pour la Creuse, non?
Pour la Creuse, donc 8 heures de route pour le ramener avec le bruit, les vibrations.
Fantastique.
Mais à l'origine, il devait être en Suisse. Ouais. Je crois qu'il était en Suisse. Hein.
Et max vitesse?
Ah, max vitesse.
Réalistiquement?
En descente, 60 km/h. Ouais. En montée, 30 km/h.
Downhill, 50 km an hour. Uphill, 30-ish.
On va dire plus de 10 ans.
Disons.
Oui, plus de 10 ans, oui, je me rappelle pas exactement, mais plus de 10 ans.
So, what is a Unimog? If you've never heard of a Unimog before, what is it? Obviously it's a big pickup truck with a Mercedes badge on the front, but other than a big pickup truck with a Mercedes badge, what is it? Well, in 1952, the French military asked Mercedes to come up with a badass pickup truck that had the spare wheel underneath the chassis, so they could put more troops in the back. And obviously the German military arm of Mercedes weren't doing much in 1952. So in 1958 they managed to come out with the Unimog, and they absolutely excelled themselves, putting the spare wheel underneath the chassis, created a stepped frame which allowed the chassis to twist off-road, much like a 2CV chassis. Very good off-road chassis, unlike road chassis, need to be able to twist. And it has 6 gears, 6 forward gears that is, but it also has high, medium and low range, and it has 2 gears in reverse in both high and low range. And from factory it has locking differentials front and rear, so it is an absolute off-road weapon, added to which Unimogs have a trick up their sleeve, and it is the one thing that Unimogs are best known for, and that is portal axles. A portal axle is kind of a way of driving from a normal axle down to the wheels, giving you more ground clearance. Coil sprung front and rear, and a completely mechanical 2-stroke diesel. It might not be the fastest thing in the world, but it's pretty much unstoppable, and it is, I've just ridden in it, incredibly loud. And Patrick actually drives the heck out of this thing. He brings it to car club meetings, he drives it on the road commonly. It's not one of these things that kind of just sits there and doesn't get used, like you know when people buy tanks and stuff like that and just have them as a glorified lawn gnome. Patrick actually brings this to all our local car club meetings, and it'll be like MX-5 and lovely little soft tops, and then Patrick's Unimog. And it's also been called into work as part of the celebrations for Miss Cruise. When they did the Miss Cruise pageant, Patrick actually loaded Miss Cruise in the back of the Unimog and drove around the village with her in it. There's a good photo of Miss Cruise hanging onto the railing at the top for dear life as Patrick drives up a banking. It's an absolute badass piece of kit. And just like most old Mercedes, this beautiful old Unimog is not a cheap thing to actually run. The tyres, for example, will set you back €800 for a set of 4. It doesn't do the best on fuel, as you can imagine, and parts are typical Mercedes prices. Although she is diesel, so she'll run on biodiesel. Ecological? Kind of. It has an engine-powered compressor and an engine-powered hydraulic system, so you can use things like a snowplow or a giant wood saw, so you can drive into the woods, cut down a tree, and then cut up the tree using your Unimog, and then tow the tree out of the woods using your Unimog. Everything about it is big and chunky, even though it's not that big. The turning circle is absolutely massive, even though it's, you know, it's smaller than most estate cars. If you parked a Volvo Estate alongside it, the Volvo Estate would be longer. She has masses of ground clearance. She's super tough, but not very big. Not by modern standards, anyway. You know, your average family kind of big four-wheel drive is actually bigger than this girl. Once of a day, she would have been one of the biggest things on the road, but now she's actually kind of little and petite, but she's petite and chunky. This bed is incredibly cool. It's actually a hydraulically tilting bed, so it can tilt this way, or it can tilt that way. And it has a door in the back so that you can run your power takeoff up into the back of the car. So if you're running a saw in the back of the car or what have you, you can actually run it from here. And you can see the big hydraulic cylinder that lifts the bed, and everything about this thing is huge. You've got big coil springs, you've got the big torque tube for the massive rear end. Everything about this thing is truck grade. It's big, it's chunky, it's massively overbuilt. I'm completely not surprised that this thing has lasted 50 odd years, because everything about it is huge. I mean, compare this to a Land Rover and it makes a Land Rover look kind of weedy and underbuilt. You know, put it next to a Willis Jeep and a Willis Jeep looks like a shopping trolley. It's so chunky. It's awesome. I love it. I may have Unimog fever. See if I can put this down properly. Everything weighs like this top door weighs like 15 kilos.
Et l'autre là, on vide derrière. Ouais. Par contre, donc pour vider en côté, il faut la démonter. On l'enlève. Mm-hmm. On la met ici, comme ça. Si ça veut y aller. Là. Voilà. Et là, cette fois, on va vider de ce côté-là.
Ah, so it can tilt this way, or that way, or backwards. Okay, that is awesome. I am seriously coming down with a case of wanting a Unimog, even though this thing is definitely not for sale because Patrick absolutely loves it. But if I had this thing, I would never have to pay for delivery of breeze blocks or sand or concrete or cement or anything ever again. This thing is awesome. It may not be fast, it may not be comfortable, it may not be quiet, it may not be fuel efficient, but my god is it cool. So we're inside the Unimog now, and Patrick is going to walk me through everything because, well, there's a lot of levers. Patrick?
Donc, comme sur les voitures, il y a un frein à main.
So that's the handbrake.
un levier de vitesse
the gear stick
avec 6 vitesses
with 6 gears.
et 3 rapports.
So that's the 3-speed transfer box. So that's low range, medium range, and high range.
Et ensuite, là, on a pour la marche arrière,
The
renverse.
reverse selector. Et c'est deux marches arrière, no?
Oui,
So,
première, deuxième.
And when you put it in reverse, it locks out the first 2 gears.
Là, ensuite, pour les prises de force, outillage.
So that is the PTO, the power takeoff. What a power takeoff is it's a shaft that runs through to either end. So if you want to run like a combine harvester end on the front of your Unimog, you can do, or a wood saw on the back, or something like that.
Là, on est en propulsion. 4 roues motrices.
Rear-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, et lock, no?
Voilà, les
And
4
that's
roues bloquées.
diff lock, and it locks the rear and front diff.
À ce niveau-là. Ici, pour arrêter
Sorry,
le moteur.
I'm on top of the engine. That's why my knees are up. So, le coup de circuit de gasoil, no?
Oui, ça
So
fait
that's
le gaz.
the diesel cutoff because it's a fully mechanical diesel engine. So there's no electronic interference at all. So the only way to turn it off is to pull this lever, and that cuts the diesel, and it turns the engine off.
L'accélérateur à main,
So hand accelerator,
les clignotants,
indicators are there,
voilà.
similar à de chevaux de les années 50, no?
Voilà, comme
Like a
la-
1950s 2CV.
Ouais. Qui n'est pas ceci qui est l'hydraulique.
Hydraulic controls, une
Là pour devant,
devant et arrière.
et l'hydraulique
ouais.
arrière.
So that one's the front hydraulic controller, that one's the rear one. So if you're running like a snow plow or something like that.
Donc bon, les différents compteurs vitesse, pression d'air.
So air, middle one's air pressure, this one's speed, and the end one's temperature.
Température
Ouais.
moteur, les essuie-glaces,
So windscreen wipers,
différents éclairages
light controls, because there's a yellow light on the roof like a tractor.
et feu de recul.
Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Le phare de derrière,
Ah, the rear lights.
marche arrière,
Ouais.
renverse.
So reverse lights, yeah.
Donc là, le contact avec ces différentes positions d'éclairage.
The indicator switch, the headlight switch is also the ignition switch.
Tout ce qui est chauffage.
There your heater. That's actually the heater fan.
Et là pour démarrer.
And that's the ignition switch, but it's also the preheater. So you've got to preheat the diesel. You let it warm up,
Qu'il soit bien rouge.
and then you let till the light comes on. And now I'm going to drive this in a second. Okay.
Reculer.
Derrière. I may have to shout for this video. It's that loud, I may be shouting for the rest of my life. That's awesome. Okay, so my turn to drive now. And Patrick is a very small man, and I'm a very big man. But he's got all his tools behind the. Is that alright? Yeah, I think I'm good. Right. So no seatbelt. Big surprise. Pre-66. Okay, I'm off. said for big Germans, but like I say, I've got the seat quite far forward. Oh, it's floaty. There's absolutely no steering wheel. The steering is geared in a way that no idea what it is. Stole it. I may have pulled into a bog. I'm driving through very deep ruts in might have to get one of these things to get expensive. I love it. Super. Want to watch more videos like this, then hopefully I'm going to be doing some more stuff like this very soon. So make sure you subscribe down below for more weird and wonderful cars coming your way. This has been my first time driving someone else's car, and just turn her off. It's been my first time ever driving someone else's car, and it's absolutely bananas, and I've fallen in love with this Unimog. I've never driven anything like it, to be honest. It's not like a Land Rover. It's not like a Jeep. It's not like a Land Rover. Like I grew up. It's halfway between. I grew up with Land Rovers and stuff, and it's halfway between a tractor and a Land Rover, and it's nuts. It's a Unimog. It's got no passenger legroom at all. It's got mechanical locking diffs, but it's so capable. It's not fast, but it's so capable. She's lovely, and the diesel torque of it's superb. I don't think I would want to drive a petrol one in roads like this for my first time ever. It's absolutely nuts, and I'm absolutely in love with it. I didn't expect to love it as much as I do. It's a mad piece of farm equipment, but it's still very Mercedes in some odd ways. You know, all the little window catches and the door handles and everything are all very Mercedes. It's very odd, but it's absolutely amazing. It's addictive, is this. I can see why Patrick has it, and I can see why Patrick loves it so much. I'm going to have to go and apologise for stalling it. But I love it so much, and I like that it's a diesel. This throttle pedal, there's no weight to the throttle pedal at all. It's just like, it's like pushing your foot against a greetings card. But it's absolutely brilliant, and I utterly adore it. Gear shift is industrial, to say the least. It's like something off a turn of the century cotton machine or something like that. It's like a train signal. I mean, it's super chunky. It's ridiculous. And I'm sure I'd get used to it, but you just have to search for the gears in the gate, and the gate's like this wide. But it's absolutely superb. I may be falling in love with Unimogs. It's so ridiculous. It's so overbuilt. It's huge. The steering's actually not that bad. Patrick was like, "Oh, your arms ache after a minute." My arms are all right. I'm not saying that I'm bigger. I'm more buff than Patrick, but I'm certainly a bigger dude, and I don't know. Maybe that helps. But it's fine to steer even in like deep mud, and it's like I say, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Where am I going to park a Unimog at home? This gear shift would have taken some getting used to. I'm really glad it's a diesel, because that has made the clutch and the shifting and stuff, that low down torque, and the fact that it's so low geared has made everything much easier to do. Much easier to manage, and I think this gearbox, coupled with like a tricky clutch and a petrol engine, would have been much more difficult, especially like I'm on a super rural, boggy green lane road. But it's fantastic, and I adore it. It's brilliant, and I want one. It's it's wicked as this. So if you've enjoyed this video, please let me know by clicking like down below. If you have any comments or questions, please leave your comments down below, just further on than the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, then please hit subscribe. Hopefully I'll be doing many more videos. I can't even talk, I'm so excited. Hopefully I'll be doing many more videos like this, driving other people's cars, weird stuff, wonderful stuff, stuff that many people may never have heard of or may never have seen. And it's absolutely fantastic. I want to say a huge thank you to my friend Patrick for letting me drive his Unimog through a bog and stall it, and I need to go and apologise now for stalling it. But it's superb, and I absolutely love it. It's superb. I must have said that about 15 times. But the steering's nowhere near as tough as I thought, and it's so chunky. I love it. So, thank you very much for watching. Please be awesome to each other, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye bye.